So I will be the first to tell you that we've talked to a host of different people in the software industry, but John's passion is unlike any other. So much so that he was retired, and really through the course of his retirement, he was able to invest in over 400 different startups. But he said, you know what, he really got tired of kind of being the advisor. He really wanted to be more hands on and work directly with this. So, what did he do about 3.5 years ago? Well, he came out of retirement and he started SmartSuite as a way to really think about a lot of the different elements that go into business, from sales to IT to HR to marketing to you name it. Well, he wanted to really take all of these and realize that they may, some over here, some there. He wanted to bring it all together on essentially one platform for the ease of you, your business, and your service. So how does he do this? And really, how does he do so with a focus on startups? He's not trying to break the bank. He recognizes that a lot of businesses were just like his, really trying to build that foundation, really trying to get things from the ground up, keep it going, propelling in success. So he really took a deeper dive into all of that with this episode and really gave us a one-on-one look as to what an experience would be like with SmartSuite and how he could be of assistance to you and your brand. So without further ado, enjoy episode 168, Specialized Software.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. As always, I'm always excited to be able to sit down with another business owner, entrepreneur, creative, everything of the sort. But I always have to take my hat off. I always have to give credit where it's due. So big shout out once again to Kitcaster just for all the amazing recommendations. I feel like y'all have completely filled up my calendar. And I love it. I will not complain. It definitely looks good, but I'm definitely always eager and glad to have someone who wants to be a part of the podcast, wants to be a part of the platform. And John is no different today. So excited to get into everything that he has going on and really how he could be of a resource to you, or maybe even someone you know, or maybe even if you're thinking about things or really just trying to figure out maybe what you're missing or that next step, or maybe how to work a little bit smarter, not harder. John will be there for you. So John, how you doing today? How's everything on your end?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to getting into our conversation.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. So before we get into all things, can you, one, just tell us a little bit about yourself? And then can you, two, just tell us what brings you on the Down to Business podcast today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you just a couple minutes on my background to maybe kind of set the conversation for some of the topics that we might want to talk about. But I'm a Midwestern boy, grew up in Kansas in the early days. I live in Southern California now. Out of college, I went to Kansas State. I kind of migrated to the West Coast for a period of time. And then I took one of my first big jobs in the Midwest. I was a direct admit partner at Ernst & Young, and I ran one of their consulting practices. We had about 1,500 people in that group. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth and learned a lot about what I'm doing today. Was kind of in those early days. I left Ernst & Young and started a company called Archer Technologies, which was a no-code platform that focused on the governance, risk, and compliance space. Mainly big banks that at time back in 2000, 2001 were trying to come online with online banking. We helped them understand how to manage the processes inside of those organizations to implement banking in a secure way, the way that we know it today. That company is still around. I sold it in 2010. They just sold again 4 or 5 months ago for $1.4 billion. So it's a pretty big organization that's there. It's still in the same location in Kansas City where I started the company, which is fun. Some of the same employees that I hired earlier in their career now run that business. I had the chance to retire for some bit of time and found out that retirement wasn't for me. My passion is around building software and no code in particular. So I invested in about 400 startups kind of along the way as I kind of retired. Worked with a lot of founders, but I found like I wanted to get in and do the work, not just kind of be an advisor. So I started a company about 3.5 years ago, SmartSuite, SmartSuite.com. And we're a no-code platform that helps organizations manage any project or business process on a single platform. So just think of your business or how a business runs, any process that you have inside of your business, whether it's sales, marketing, HR, IT, project management, all in a single platform. So we have customers that range from a couple of users to hundreds, thousands of users, all the way to the Fortune 500.
Wow, even in a couple of minutes, you just gave me a lot right there. That was quite the journey, quite the experience. But I'm hearing a lot of different expertise within that. I'm hearing a lot of different trial and error. I'm hearing a lot of different. You said invest, and I just want to make sure that the people heard it. I know I heard it, but I just want to make sure I heard it right. You said invested in over 400 different startups.
Correct. Yes.
Amazing. That's really amazing. As somebody who really, one, just as of this job that I'm currently in, this is my first ever startup. Every company that I've worked for has already been public, but so it's been interesting really just to see both sides of the spectrum. But it's also been interesting too because I've been introduced to so many startup people, whether they've had successful exits, whether they started it themselves and they're in it, sold it off, have other people doing it. So that's amazing like that. Okay, well, so the first thing that just piques my curiosity with SmartSuite is that how how were you able to really get it to where it is today? Like and correct me if I'm wrong when I say this. So hearing that you're able to do anything from sales to marketing to paper, everything of the sort, did it always start this way where you kind of just taking on one different industry or one different project at a time until you became all inclusive of whatever a company came to you with?
Yeah, so I think the idea for this kind of goes back to my early days at Archer Technologies that I kind of mentioned at the beginning. And we worked mainly with big banks, but we moved outside of banks into telco and healthcare. And about 75 of the Fortune 100 were customers of Archer. And what we found was that they used our platform to not just manage the processes around what became governance, risk, and compliance activities, but they used it to manage all kinds of other processes inside of mainly those banks. So one customer in particular, I think it was Morgan Stanley, we went to and with their IT department, and they shared with us 200 other business processes that they had implemented on our technology and rolled out to different departments in the bank. So the idea at Archer was longer term was we wanted to move to help manage any process in a company. When we sold the company about a year and a half after that conversation that I had with Morgan Stanley, the people that purchased it came back and said, we're not interested in all of that. We want to just focus on the governance, risk, and compliance piece of that. So I stayed for a year in transition and then I left full time. But it's always been in the back of my head to build a platform that could help startups all the way through the Fortune 100 just manage their business with a core piece of no code technology. And no code basically means if I'm a person and I know what the process should be, I could use drag and drop technology to kind of build that process out as opposed to writing code that's there. So the idea behind SmartSuite was to use the latest, greatest technology that's now available that can make software look visually more appealing, on the screen with just more colors. It's faster, it performs better, kind of bring all of that together into kind of a fourth generation no code platform.
I like that one because that was going to be one of my next questions too about really what no code was. Break that down for me. So you read my mind even with that. But I'm also hearing too. So you said basically 3.5 years ago that this company came into business, and I'm even thinking about what was going on 3.5 years ago. For some of us, we were on curfews, essential workers in the midst of a pandemic, not really knowing what to do. For others, we were fully remote, trying to just figure what life was going to be. Maybe this will last a couple of weeks. It is what it is. Some of us were in school, everything of the sort. So now to think about what was happening back then and now just year after year after year, what have been some enhancements, some improvements, even some things that you guys have had to maybe even go back to the drawing board for in order to kind of improve upon to really, like you said, give the latest and the greatest technology to people out there?
Yeah, I'll kind of tell you about the journey of how we actually developed the software, which is a little unique. Most startup companies, they develop what's called an MVP, a most viable product. And what that means is they want to do as the least amount of coding as possible before the product is available to customers to try it. And a lot of times that only solves maybe 30 or 40% of the problem, but they get initial feedback and they keep iterating to build that product over time. For the particular use case that we had with helping people manage any process in their company, we knew that that wasn't an option. Meaning if we only solved 30% of the problem, it didn't solve any part of the problem, right? They wouldn't look at the product. So we hired about 100 engineers and spent almost 3 years, about 2.5 years building the core technology before we released it to our first customer that was there. And that's unusual in a couple of ways in that our company, we're self-funded, so I don't have any venture capital that's in the company. Most startup companies don't have that luxury to have the capital to put behind something, so that's why they have to build the MVPs. So our approach, though, was really meant to be able to come to market with a fully baked product that could compete against anybody else in the space, but also help set us apart from them with new features that maybe people hadn't seen before. So it was a long journey through COVID. Those first 2+ years of not being able to talk to customers each day. And we did talk to some that know what was coming, but we were basically heads down as a company building software every day and not having people come in and tell us if they liked it based on how they were using it. So it was great when we kind of got through that period. About a year and a half ago is when we went to market. That's there, and since that time, we've a little over 10,000 customers have kind of come onto our platform during that period. So it's been a pretty fast paced year and a half since then.
Wow, that's fast pace. Fast pace might even really be an understatement, to be honest. But no, that's amazing to hear about the one. While nobody could have ever predicted what was going to go on with COVID and the pandemic,
Right.
to hear how I feel like I've talked to, because we started the podcast during the pandemic, so it was very interesting to hear what people were doing during that time. Some people just coming into business, some people stalling a little bit of business, some people going out of business, some people, like you even said, hard to reach their customers, hard to really have that personable, that genuine, authentic approach, just being that it was so much going on. So now to really fast forward and be where we are today, to have so many users, so many different companies, startups, founders, everything of the sort, is what really is the experience like when it comes to working with SmartSuite? Is this because it's automation, because you're kind of putting in software in place of things and making things easier, faster? Is it really a hands-off approach when it comes to the business owners, when the startups, and they come to you? Is it kind of just they tell you the problem, they tell you what's going on, and the rest of it you guys kind of just handle? Is it you guys are in constant communication? They're adding you for different, because like you said, I feel like some industries or some startups may come to you thinking that they want to just do this, or thinking that they just want to focus on marketing. But after maybe a consultation, or maybe after talking or some deeper dives, you may say, hey, we can actually help you here, and here too. So what really, walk me through like a one-on-one experience with a company taking on SmartSuite?
Yeah, so most companies come to us pretty similar to what you just described, in that maybe it's a marketing company or a marketing agency, and they have specific needs around marketing that's there. So they found us, come to our website, you start a free 14-day trial. There's no credit card. So you can just jump in and see if it's for you or not before you would have to worry about paying. If you're still not sure after 2 weeks, the trial period, you can move to our free plan. It's free forever, up to 3 users. Continue to use it until you would see if you found value in it. But what typically happens, and the way we've built the software, is that this kind of goes back to my days at Ernst & Young, where I really learned about all things processes, is that we have 200 templates that are available for download. So if you come in and say, I'm interested in marketing, then we're going to say, we have about 35 templates that are specific to marketing. Covers kind of every aspect that you could do. And we have different types of templates. Maybe you're a startup and you have a pretty simple process. We'll say, hey, this is probably the place to start for you. Maybe you're kind of intermediate, or maybe you say, I'm a full-blown agencies with hundreds of people. I need the more complex workflow that's there. What a lot of people like about the templates is they don't really understand what a best-in-class process might look like around marketing, so they can download the template and see maybe that for the first time, to kind of help them understand what type of process they want to have in their company. So they very quickly download a template. They can then go in and modify that template. And we say modify, that just means maybe you want to see the information on a form organized a little different. Maybe you have different types of reports that you want to see. Maybe your dashboard is set up just a little different on the metrics that you want to have. Again, all just using drag and drop. So the intent is just in a short amount of time, for a simple process, a couple of hours. For something more complex, could be days or a week. This depends on the type of process that you have. But our goal as a no-code platform is to first help you understand the core things you're interested in, like marketing, but then help you see, oh, I could use this for sales. I could use this for HR. I could use it for project management, for the same price. So we charge per user per month, unlimited usage on the number of workflows that you want to use us for. So our initial goal at SmartSuite was to bring enterprise software to the masses at a price point that's never been seen before, meaning the Fortune 100 are used to having products like this. That's how they run their business, but they're so expensive. Like when at Archer, our core product started at about $350,000 a year, right? At SmartSuite, our first entry point of pricing is $10 per user per month, goes up to an enterprise, which is 40. So very different, but the capabilities that we offer are the same that the enterprise customers would want. So I love working with startups and founders and small companies that are just trying to grow. And that probably makes up, I'd say 65% of our business or just thousands of those types of companies.
That's quite the price point like that. So
Yeah.
at an enterprise software, like you said, that at a price point that has never been seen before. Because granted, I didn't even know what number you were going to first throw off when you were talking to Archer. I was not expecting that at all. But then to combat it with yours, I did not know what number you were about to throw up again. And then to hear that, wow, that's a night and day difference. But I'm always so interested in people's processes and kind of that one-on-one question, just because I've heard so many times and so many different people and companies where they're just like, look, we know what we do is amazing. We know what we do can help you in some capacity, but we're not going to hit you over the head with it. We're not going to force it. We're not going to be like salesmen knocking on doors or anything like that. We really want to show you. And we really, like you said, you're given 2 weeks. 2 weeks could be, and then even after the 2 weeks, you're not even still looking for a sign or looking for a deadline or looking for a dead center answer. It still could be, hey, well, let's start smaller. Let's see kind of what it works here. Let's start with a few users. Let's kind of build on that. Let's keep it going. Let's figure out what really happens, because the proof is always going to speak for itself. Now, something that I'm also really interested in is, and if you can really, if there is any, because I feel like I've talked to some companies where there are competitors out there. There are people who are kind of in the same space as them. And then I've talked to some companies where you may have people in the same space, but they're not nearly doing what we're doing. So for what SmartSuite does, for what you guys are doing and even looking to do as a future outlook, are there any really competitors in this space or people? Because I feel like, with so much AI talk and so much just everything wanting to be automated, as you said, or just making things easier, quicker, systems, software. I feel like there are a lot of people trying to plug and play, whether they're figuring out their own systems, making some within their own organizations, or bringing in outside sources. Is that true with SmartSuite, or are you guys really just a unique entity in your own, being that you serve so many different industries?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. It kind of goes to the heart of kind of what our product does. So our goal was to bring together the capabilities of a couple of different products, different industries of products into a single platform, so that you wouldn't need to have 5 or 6 or 7 different products to do your job each day, right? And most people are used to having multiple tabs across the top of their screen, and you're doing your work and clicking through those tabs. We want to get that down to 1, 2, or 3 tabs, maybe instead of 7 that's there. So if you are a company and you're using a product like Asana, ClickUp, Monday, Rike for project management, we provide those types of capabilities. But if you're also using a product like Airtable or Knack or ServiceNow, which is more process centric and they don't have project management capabilities, we took those 2 categories and put them on top of each other. So you get the full feature set across all of that. And then we added in automation. So if you need to automate work and integrate with other platforms, it's built in as a native part of our product. And then we've also integrated AI. So if you are, let's say, the marketing company you were talking about earlier, the reason so many agencies use us is because you can go into our product, and if you need to create content for a client, AI is built in. You could say, I need to write a blog about this. It needs to be SEO optimized with these long tail keywords. I want it to be 1,500 words written from this perspective. And in about 15 seconds, it will pop that out for you, right? And then you can edit that. So AI has really taken over content creation inside of our customers. The other side is, if you have a lot of content, maybe you have sales information, and you want AI to look at that data and help bring out insights, it will look into the data source and say, hey, I'm seeing that maybe 10% of your customers make up 90% of your revenue in this category, right? To help people understand, well, maybe you should be marketing more to that 10%, because that's where you're going to get the biggest bang there. So AI is really changing the game. And it's interesting. It's changed the game just in the last 90 days. It went from 0 to 100. It seems like just in a couple of weeks, when OpenAI released ChatGPT and then the API to be able to connect to it, it allowed any product to be able to connect to that technology for customers to take advantage of.
You are right. I swear, man, I'm trying to keep up with it all. It was so many things happening. I had talked to one dude. He said we were on like ChatGPT model 4 or 5, and I was just like, I missed the first 3, so I just felt like I was really behind the 8 ball. But no, it was definitely something where I felt like the first couple of times I was hearing about it, I was just shrugging it off. I felt like it was so much information just coming. It was like an overload. So instead of just trying to tackle bit by bit, I just shut it out. But as I'm really starting to just talk to so many different people in so many different industries, I'm really realizing how implemented it's been and really how long it's been around. I don't think I've really realized that myself, like how long in some capacity in just different ways AI has been here. It may not be as advanced and as prominent as it is right now, but it's always been there, and it's just a matter of if we knew about it, if we were using it, if we were plugging it, and we were playing it. So
Yeah.
now we spoke about. I feel like in that couple minutes that you gave us at the beginning, you gave us such a journey. Though it was so much into that, from Ernst and Young to Archer to the 400 startups, everything to really get to this point to where we are today. Now we're thinking about SmartSuite. How has what you amassed, from achievements to experience to teams to just investments to positive and both negative experience, how has that really, one, shaped you, but also made you basically ready to take on SmartSuite? Because I don't think the people heard it. And if they did hear it, I'm going to remind them again that he said he came out of retirement. Now, now I don't know how many people are retired that tap into the podcast. I'm not retired, but I think the connotation that comes with retirement is that, oh, we want to get there as fast as we can. We just want to retire. We want to stop working. But I've heard both sides of the spectrum. I've heard that you've gotten there, you've enjoyed it, you've done it. It is what it is. And we also hear about people coming out of retirement to do the work, to do just different things, to find their passions, to chase their dreams or goals in some capacity. So for you, with everything that you've done, from the time you really started and got into the space and found that it was your interest and your passion, how has that now made you the person, the John that you are with SmartSuite?
Yeah, it's interesting. Earlier in my career, I always thought that I wanted to retire as soon as I could. So I sold Archer, retired at 45. The first couple of years were, to be honest, were a lot of fun. It was nice not to worry about work with the stress of each morning or going to bed at night thinking about things. Like I could just wake up and do what I wanted for the day. For a while, I thought I wanted to play golf, so I played golf every day for a long time, and then I realized that's fun, but that wasn't my passion, right? So I traveled, I tried different things to kind of stay busy, and what I realized was that my passion was around two things: building software and interacting with people that use my software. I built so many great relationships with people around the world, and I missed those two pieces. And my wife, Tara, who founded Archer with me, she ran sales and marketing, also founded SmartSuite with me as well. And part of the reason that we decided to get back into it was like, I wanted a reason to get up each day to go do something that I thought was meaningful to me. At this point, it wasn't all about the money it was just about, being energized and passionate about something that I was good at and just enjoying that journey. So I think this time around, it's a little different than the first time because I enjoy it maybe a little more. And I enjoy the relationships. I'm still stressed, but I'm maybe not as stressed as I was the first time I started a startup company that's there. But yeah, I think that a lot of people might think for a few years retirement is fun, and then you just you come to the realization of, what do I do each day when I get up to fill my day?
I feel like, yeah, having that 9 to 5, that business, that entrepreneurial, even that philanthropist mindset will definitely fill a day. Will definitely have you think, even when you're not even realizing, even when I tell people all the time, I think about that. This will probably be for my younger crowd too, that SpongeBob episode where it was showing Squidward just in the same day over and over again, just doing the same thing and the same mundane routine, back to back to back. But I feel like when you take that routine out completely, it can go either way for you. Like you said, that those first couple of weeks, months, probably even days were just like, wow, this is amazing. I've been waiting on, forever, as fast as I wanted to do. But after the travel, after all the holes in golf, after all the, just enjoyment, the naps, pool, everything like that, it starts to get to a thing of, okay, well, what is really going to fulfill me? Not only just my day, but me, my mind. I want to be healthy, spiritual, mental, everything of the sort. So to really hear that you came back and immerse yourself in that, it's probably something that doesn't even really feel like work for you, but more so just a matter of being able to interact with people, seeing your software do its thing, seeing people really resonate with it just the same. So to get into SmartSuite from a different perspective. Now, I want to talk more so about the team and how it's compiled and everything like that. So, are you guys based somewhere specific? Is the team kind of all over? Are you guys global? Is this just the United States thing? What's really? And I would even say too, if not global, if just global, do you guys have plans of international reach or expanding as the years and as time kind of passes?
Yeah, so the idea was to be global from day one and hire a global workforce. So we have associates in 9 different countries, which makes things really fun. When we first started, the first thing I wanted to do was I needed to design the software. I didn't want to pick somebody that I'd worked with in the past. I wanted something that was maybe a little different and edgier, newer than maybe was being built in the US right now. So I kind of opened up that search internationally. And of all places, I found a person in Bulgaria, and I traveled over to meet him, Stoigan, and found right off the bat we just connected. He knew exactly what I was looking for. He brought a good sense of just newer, more interesting, more modern design elements that we could work with together. That's there. Then I started hiring developers, and of all places, I didn't expect this. I found a team in the Ukraine, in Kiev, Ukraine. So I went over and met with them, really hit it off with them as well. That kind of gave us like our first 10 people that we hired on the development side. And then it began to just branch out all across Europe and Latin America. We've got people in the US. And the most interesting part is when we get on calls each day, we're on the phone with people in 5 or 6 different countries with different perspectives, and we're all good friends now, and we would have never have met before, if it wasn't for the opportunity to be at SmartSuite. And that's the part that I think is most fun and most interesting, with having the chance that you're not just hiring people that are 30 miles away from one location. Everybody works there. You're all pretty similar, kind of maybe in your backgrounds and thoughts, to something more international where everybody comes with their own unique experiences and background that brings to the software process for us.
And I think true too, the underlying beauty in that is that there are people in various parts of the world outside of the United States that resonate with you, that are thinking along the same lines as you, that are in the same industries as you, that could be far across. I feel like sometimes growing up, I didn't really give enough credit to the fact that I just felt like people were living completely different worlds from the United States. Like they were just not thinking how we were thinking. They don't know the technology, right. And it takes that travel, and it takes really talking to people. It takes really immersing yourself into that to really realize, wow, this is just like me, but we're in Bulgaria, or this is just like me, but we're in the Ukraine now, or somewhere else, or expanding or expounding. So no, I really love to hear that. I can definitely see how, like you said, 9 different countries. 1, that's amazing. But 2, I could imagine that just keeps the ball rolling. It keeps things fun. It keeps everybody on their toes in a sense. So now I love to think about the future outlook. I feel like with everything we're talking about, we're even talking about the future too. So do you feel like there's anything that you guys, meaning SmartSuite, have not explored yet? Even has there ever really been a problem that a client has come to you with that you may not necessarily have been able to solve right off the bat? Is there anything that, as time kind of continues to move, that you guys are thinking about involving yourselves in, or anything that you want to kind of add to the platform to continue to perfect it to be its best self?
Oh, absolutely. So I think that's the part that I enjoy the most around building software is I as the CEO, I spend an hour and a half to 2 hours of every day talking with partners and customers about how they use our product. And I'm working on myself on the designs with our designer to solve those problems. And those are all the future, features that we're adding on top of our platform. But sometimes you watch how people use it and you realize, man, I could cut out 3 clicks for them to go do that one thing. It could save them that much time. And they're doing that one thing 30 times a day, right? So we get into kind of that level. Or our software was purpose built for millennials and Gen Zers, who are the people we feel do work in organizations. So I love to interact with them, watch how they use the software. Their perspective is very different than my generation and what they expect. And they want things to be more collaborative, more colorful. They are worried about and think about the design, and they may pick one software over another because if they're going to use it all day, they want it to feel interesting and fresh versus, like I sometimes say when I talk with them, I say, this is not your dad's software. This is something different because we're building it just for you. So I want to know your feedback on not just getting your work done, but visually how you collaborate with people while you're doing that. How do we bring in concepts that they like from some of the collaboration platforms that they use, on how they can not just talk with people, but see what other people are working on and maybe comment on that inside of the company and help build a culture around collaboration.
I love the sound of this because I'm not trying to reveal your sauce here, but it definitely sounds like y'all are just staying one step ahead in all regards. Even from when you were talking earlier about the different companies like your Monday.coms and like your ClickUps and everything like that, and how you were taking both sides of what they could do. Well, let's bring it all together. Why would I have you reach out to them and reach out to them? That's 2 different price points, 2 different interactions, 2 different companies, when I can give you all of it in-house like that. So no, but I also do feel like that's something that's very important to do because things are always ever changing. Like you said, we couldn't have really imagined what was going to happen. But we can adjust to it. We can adapt to it. We can use the AI to our advantage instead of being scared of it and shying away from it, as I did sometimes. We can, take a different perspective, ask these questions, figure out how we can help serve the clients in different capacities, in different spaces, in different places. So no, to hear that, I'm really even excited to see it too, because I know that the SmartSuite that was 3 years ago is not the SmartSuite that's right now. The SmartSuite that's even right now is not going to be the one that's in a year or two from now, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. You might even, the next time we talk about this, you might even be in 27 different countries now on top of that. So I love to really hear that, and I love to see that. But I'm also excited because I could imagine that there are even going to probably be some things too that y'all may have not accounted for, that even that kind of change or that happen or that go along the way. So no, I love that. But okay, so we have automation, just the word in general, just the process, everything that it is to it. I feel like for some industries, for some of the people who I've talked to on here, they may not use automation in any capacity, may not even really know the definition, but may not even also really know how it could fit with their model. I feel like too, a lot of times I love concepts on the podcast that are unfamiliar to people, because I love to hear how inclusive it can be. And I love to hear that when people draw these different analogies and such, how it works out. So automation. I really just want the one-on-one. One, can you just give us the definition of what that is? But can you, two, just also explain to us why that's so important in today's society? And two, or three, I guess, I'm giving you a three-parter here, so I'm sorry for loading that up. But three, why not only is it important, but how it can be so beneficial to business owners, to startups, to entrepreneurs, philanthropists, creatives, everything of the sort.
Yeah, again, great question. So I run across this quite often with new customers coming in, just not understanding the types of work that they do that could be automated. And basically what that means is, if you just sat down, for 8 hours a day and watch somebody do their work, you kind of look at the things that they're doing. And are there any things that are just kind of routine that they have to do? Meaning, when this happens, I go do this, right? And can I, through what we call an automation, which is just a rule, it's a fancy word for some rules, to say that I can, when this happens, we call that a trigger. When this trigger happens, I want to take this action or this series of actions to go do. Let me give you something simple, really simple. Let's say that you're an organization, and when customers come into your organization, the first thing that you need to do is sign a contract, right? So the first thing could be is we could go create that contract and send that to them in an email. Somebody doesn't manually have to create it and send it in an email. Say that at the end of an engagement, you're a professional services firm and you just need to send the customers a bill or a summary of the work that you've done that's there. You could hit a button that just says send bill, and it would do the work of a person, pulling all the information into Excel or whatever format, a PDF, sending them an email that's there. That's at the most basic level of automation that could happen. But what companies begin to find is that there's a lot of room for automation in the day-to-day activities that their employees do. So maybe you could save them an hour or two or 4 or 5 in a week from just those mindless tasks that they have to do over and over, and give them more time to think about their job. And maybe if you're in a customer success organization, like, how can I better take care of my customer, and I'm not doing just pounding on my keyboard all day. Now, it can get much more sophisticated than that, where you can say, when this happens in SmartSuite, I want to send information to my Salesforce account. And when something happens in Salesforce, I want you to send information to HubSpot, which is marketing, right? So if you didn't want to use SmartSuite to do everything, you can now share information between different platforms and sync that data in real time, so people don't have to go 2 places and input the same data twice that's there. So think of an automation as just a fancy word for automating routine tasks that somebody does inside of a company. And it's not uncommon to find an hour to 2 of savings per day per person if you haven't automated anything in your process to date that's there.
Not sure if you've ever thought about pursuing a career in teaching, but the way you just broke that down, I think they should give you your own course here. You could definitely teach some people some things. But no, I love that, and I even love kind of the latter half of that example about how it's not, you don't have to always keep everything just with us. You can send here, you can send there, you can get things sent, analytics and everything like that. So I love to hear that as well. Now, Before we get into where people can find you, I already know you gave the website and everything like that, but do you feel like there's anything that we have not touched on today when it comes to SmartSuite, whether it's even thinking about something that you guys are revealing soon, whether it's thinking about something that you guys may have coming up, even something, even maybe a niche or maybe something that's maybe misunderstood about your company, maybe a misconception or maybe sometimes some myths or some stereotypes that you guys have to debunk around automation and around what you guys do. And or even I will say, are there any last words that you want to leave out there for other startups, for other business owners, for other entrepreneurs? Because you've obviously had quite the experience and you obviously are well invested, 400 plus, in startups and in that technology and in just that field, in that area of expertise, which I feel like is always growing, it's always changing, but it's always something too that's different to the individual.
Sure. Yeah. The first thing that maybe I would just say in general is that a lot of people don't understand how economical it is now to use no code platforms. You know, a lot of them, like us, and we're not the only one, have free versions of their products for up to 3 users that have just limits on the number of records or things you can do. But for a lot of people, like that works for a small business to get started or a small team that just needs to figure things out. So, and then the first level of pricing is typically around $8 to $10 per user per month in the industry. That's what's evolved in the last 3 years. So it's a lot more cost effective than people think for the types of the value and benefits that you'll get back from there. The second thing I'll say is get ready for AI. Like it is taking over the software industry and in a good way, meaning that the things that you can automate that you want to do inside of your business takes it to the next level. Good examples would be if I'm somebody that's writing product requirements about how to design software, you could use AI to say, I'm researching this topic. I need to create this type of feature in my platform. The truth is that those features have probably already been created in lots of other products. It can do the research and help you understand the information. Then you could say, help me write a 3-paragraph overview. Okay, great. Now help me write an action plan of all the things that I need to have development do to build the software. Then you could say, help me describe this product that goes on my website. Now, you could do all of that in a matter of hours, where in the past it's taking days, if not a week, to perform those same tasks if you had to write all that. So when I talk about automation, the power of AI to help you in your daily job, think of it as the next version of Google search, where you would search and research, but now it's actually interacting with you, almost having a conversation. And the better you are at asking questions, the better the content, the results that you get out. And I spend a majority or a portion of every day talking with people about how they can better use AI inside of their business. And it's really around content creation and reviewing of existing content that you might have. I use AI, really Chat GPT on a daily basis. I mean, an hour or two a day, probably. I don't write anything anymore, whether it's a blog, an article, whatever, without sending it through Chat GPT and asking it to help me enhance certain areas or asking questions to beef things up.
All right, y'all. So John just said it himself. There's always room for improvement in different areas and different facets. And I feel like there's also the opportunity to learn here. There's the opportunity to do the 2-week trial, to get on the free plan, to maybe even start smaller scale, because you're not going to get a price point like this. He can name a few. Obviously, he's already named even some companies that are working with these Fortune 500s and at bigger levels and bigger price points. So, coming into just learning with SmartSuite, I feel like they'll give you that demo, they'll give you that personal experience, but they'll also stick with you through it. They'll answer your questions. They'll stay personable with you. They have people connected in different places and in different spaces. And I also just obviously on here, we love to do a lot of just different call to actions, and we love to let people know that, look, I'm not bringing these people on just so that I just needed somebody to talk to. I mean, granted, I love talking to people, but I'm bringing these people on because these are people with value. These are people who want to connect, who want to inform, who want to share this information, who want to invest, who want to help you out, who want to plug you in. And y'all could even be of a resource to one another. But like you said, it's about asking those questions. It's about seeking that. But not only just seeking, but seeking it and applying it just the same. Because I feel like a lot of times we get so much information. We get so much things thrown at us. We listen to episodes. We may write some things down, and it kind of just becomes a thought. I'm very guilty of it. If we go to my closet now, I have a lot of just different notebooks about ventures that I just thought I was going to start. At one point, I was gung-ho about it. I got the title at the top. I had my nice black pen ready to go. and it went by the wayside. Do I still keep these notebooks? Absolutely. But have I really circled back on some of these ideas? No. So in a sense, while I'm calling y'all out, I'm calling myself out, because I think I definitely just need to hone in on some things just the same. But no, John, thank you. Thank you, one, just for the insight into you, into your journey, into your experience. But thank you also just for the education, just the same. But last but certainly not least, thank you for what SmartSuite is doing at a price. You're giving amazing technology, amazing software, the best, the greatest that it can be at such an affordable price point, because money does not really seem to be a thing for y'all. While granted, yes, clients are great. I'm sure you guys are very, very, very successful at what you do. It's not something where you're just trying to knock people over the head. It's not something where you're trying to throw 5 and 6 figures at people. Let's start with a few users. Let's figure out what this platform does. Let's even show you. But no, honestly, really what you're doing is important in so many different facets. Not only are you bringing just different companies in and educating them, but you're also really showing them how, when this happens, this could happen. It's not something that you have to wake up and continuously do every day. If you could take some of that workload off of you, or like you said, if you could stop sometimes of just banging up the keyboard and really just do it yourself, and then send other places, or give the feedback, or increase your marketing, content creation is everything. So like you said, keep those eyes open, keep that head on the swivel, because this is something that is taking over, whether we like it or not. So John, last but certainly not least, can you just tell everybody the best places to find you, where they can reach out to you, where they can check out the website, the products, the services? Give us everything you got.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity. So if you're interested just in no code space and what products might be able to do for you, just go to our website, smartsuite.com, start a free trial, no credit card, give it a try. And we love feedback, good and bad. So if you're going through, you don't understand things, there's a button down on the bottom right-hand corner you can click on and have a live conversation with a member of our team, and just let us know that's there. And then if you think it's something for you, we'll spend time with you through onboarding to help you really understand the product and customize it to kind of fit how you want to use it. If you want to reach me personally, probably the best way is on LinkedIn. Just find me it's John, Jon, Derbyshire. Just either connect with me or send me a DM through LinkedIn, and I'll definitely get back to you.
All right, y'all have it here. We are getting real live. Successful business owners, entrepreneurs, creators who want to connect, who want to help, who want to answer your questions, who a lot of times we see these big names and we get so turned off, or it's hard to put a face to the name. He's telling you that you click that chat box, it's not going to say connecting to an agent, and they give you all these automated lists of things to click, and you got to keep clicking 8 things, and then it's going to still not answer your question. You're going to say, no, we're going to talk, we're going to go back and forth. So no, John, like I said, just thank you. 1, thank you for just coming on here and really wanting to be a part of things. But 2, thank you for everything that you've done in the creative space, in the entrepreneurial space, and the startup space. Thank you for everything that you're doing, and thank you for everything that you will continue to do. And to everybody out there who continuously taps in with us, whether you're coming from my side, John's side, whether you are coming from neither one of our sides and really just found out about this episode somehow, some way, we are grateful. I love y'all. I thank y'all. And this has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner.